Alright, to remove the passenger side valve cover, first thing you do is disconnect this battery. Now in order to remove this clip right here, as it's plugged in there, what you need is one of these. And you go in through the center of this clip, like this. Trying to get out of the lighting. You're going to go in through here. You're going to use this, that center tab right there, you're going to use this to pry it up. So this goes in through here, and as you push on it, it'll pry this up so it'll slide out. Okay. Now to remove this hose right here on the back of this intake, this hose clamp, you use a pair of pliers like this, and you just squeeze that hose clamp. It's connected to the box right here, and then you slide it back and just twist the hose to disconnect it. And to remove this box, all you do is pull these little clips out. And I tried doing it with a screwdriver and that didn't work. So just stick a flat screwdriver underneath this and then pry up on it, and then it'll come out. Now to remove this air box, okay, all I'm doing is undoing these clips, these two clips at the top, then it slides up. So see this whole piece, I'm not going to undo this clamp here. So this whole piece is going to stay connected. The next thing I'm going to do is undo this hose clamp right here. And then all this is going to stay connected as one piece. And I'm going to pull it out. I'm probably going to leave this in here if it's bolted in there or something. I'm probably going to leave this in there. But yeah, this is fixing to come out in one piece. Alright, this hose clamp right here, it actually uses an 8mm socket. So I'm going to use this deep socket right here to undo it. But yeah, that fits. It's a lot easier to use a 8mm instead of a screwdriver. Should be enough to. Alright, intake's out of there. After I undid that clamp there, I just wiggled it around a little bit, and it broke loose. But the next thing to go after is this metal bracket here. It's got two bolts on the bottom. I think you can see them on this side. Yeah. So there's one right here, one right here. Those have to come off. And then I'm just going to lift it up and slide it out of the way. And then these clips down here, right, these metal clips that hold these ignition coils on down here, I'm using one of these mechanics picks to pry this metal clips off. And you got to be careful so you don't drop them and lose them. But and I put them inside the car after I removed them, because I set them on the ground and kicked them around and lost them. So now I'm sticking them in the car. But yeah, pull them off with this mechanics pick. That's how you get those off easily. And it might be easier to just unbolt the coils first. I don't know. Alright, now to remove these ignition coils. See, I got this one right here. He's unbolted. Okay, and I actually had to use a 1/4-inch ratchet to undo the bolts because they were so tight. So he's unbolted and pulled out. Now that he's pulled out, I can take this mechanics pick here and I can grab this metal clip right here on the edging right here. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. But I can pull it up right there and pull it off. So these metal clips are going to be easier to pull off if you just unbolt the coils and pull them out first. And you want to do the one in the front first. You want to remove the one in the front before you do the one in the back. I already cleaned out these ignition coils. I sprayed them with engine cleaner and wiped them with a rag, and sprayed them off with a water hose, and then I slung all the water off of them. Now they're basically air drying while I work on the rest of this stuff right here. Now before you undo the bolts for the valve cover, fair warning, it's going to drip some oil, so you might want to put a drip pan underneath it, especially if you're working in your garage or shop or something like that. But I'm working outside, so I'm just going to move the car and spray the pavement off. There, my new spark plugs and spark plug caps are installed. Now I just got to put the valve cover on. I cleaned up the matting surface the best I can. There's a new gasket. And those are all washed up and cleaned up. Had to take a wire brush and clean silicone off these bolts before I install them back into the valve cover. Alright, I got all my bolts in here. I stabbed the holes with a screwdriver and put the bolts in there. I got them labeled. This is for my valve covers, and I did this so that I can have all my bolts in one hand and then basically hold them like with my right hand as I'm putting them in, and then I can hold the valve cover with my left hand. And yeah, this kind of helps out. I don't know. I'm trying to show the spark plugs here. I don't know if it'll get down in there on that, but there we go. But as you can see, the spark plug hole is all cleaned up. No oil in there. And some new plugs in here. There's the other one. I don't know if I can get down there that good. I just didn't want to focus on this one. There we go. Yeah, he's all cleaned up and installed. New seals and everything. Alright, the valve cover's installed. Bolts are basically screwed down as far as they'll go. Next thing for me to do is take my clean ignition coils and install those and make sure I put my clips on them, and then put my metal bracket back on top of it, that thing that goes right here. Then after that the intake goes on. I'm done. But in order to get all to these lower bolts on this valve cover, you got to pull your plastic out from your wheel well right here. Okay, and it helps if you turn the wheel. If you take this wheel right here and turn it towards the passenger side, you know, you might have a little bit more room to get up in there. But for the most part, this is the view or the angle that I had the whole time with the wheel well removed. So you can see the lower 3 bolts to the valve cover from here. But another thing you can do is remove the exhaust right here. If you pull the exhaust piping off right here, if you got that off, you can probably get to them too. Alright, the intake's on, everything's connected. After I reconnected the battery and took it for a test drive, the engine warning light went out on it, so alright, I just want to point out here that the engine warning light went off after I cranked the car and changed the spark plugs and the air filter and the valve cover gaskets. So I didn't have to turn the engine warning light off. It went off on its own. Another thing that happened was after I connected the battery, the window over here on the passenger front door, it wouldn't roll down when I hit this button right here. Yeah, this button wasn't working after I connected the battery. So I figured out what it is. It's just some kind of programming short or whatever. But all you got to do is reach over to the passenger side, take this button here, push the window down, and then back up. Then after you do that, this button will work. See? But that button will start working again. So for some reason, after you disconnect the battery, this button stops working. And that's all you got to do to fix it. Now another thing is, I noticed there was some ticking after I got 93 octane gas in this little 4-cylinder. And if you ever notice that your engine's ticking after you get some new gas, because I put 93 octane in here, it's a dirty air filter. It means you're not getting enough air. So basically I put 93 octane in here, which is, you know, high in octane, and it started ticking because the air filter was dirty, wasn't getting enough air. So yeah, if your engine starts ticking whenever you hit the gas pedal after you get gas, more than likely it's a dirty air filter. Air filter is supposed to be changed every 30,000 miles on this vehicle. As you can see, this thing's got 116,000 miles on it, and I just now changed the spark plugs for the first time, so. But I guess that's it. If any of this helped, you might want to subscribe or like the video or something, I don't know.